it's Jaden and welcome back to another video. And for this week's video, we are going to be working on my scrapbook. Now, or as I called it, the book of memories. Now, this is something that I've started doing recently as I have like I have held on to like a lot of things from trips and stuff, and they've just kind of been sitting in this little container on my desk and I haven't really been doing anything with them. So I decided to start scrapbooking so that I could actually do something with all of these little extra bits and bobs of stuff that I had. So let's go work on a couple of new pages. Alright, so based off of my little list, first up is the Joan Jett, Poison, Def Leppard, and Motley Crue concert that my mom and I went to together on June 22nd of 2022. Now these are all of the photos that I had, as well as the ticket, which we actually got these tickets last minute. I literally got them like the day before the concert started, but it was such a great time. So right now you can see me looking through some scrapbook paper that I had, and I knew that I had this rock and roll themed scrapbook paper. I actually had two different sheets, so I pulled those out and just cut out some of the little like cards that I like to add along with my pictures on my scrapbooking pages, just to give them a little something extra. I also cut out this one, which I thought was perfect because I talk a lot about how much like I have memories related to music. And my mom, I remember when we went to this concert, she talked about how it reminded her of like when she was younger, because these, like I've mentioned before, these were all artists that she listened to growing up. So it was just a very memorable concert that we went to together. Now, after like laying everything out and trying to find like a decent setup that I liked for the pictures, I glued this one picture onto the back of this little scrapbook paper that looks like sheet music, just to give it a little something extra. I then also cut off another piece to go over a photo, though originally I had put it underneath, but I ended up changing that later on, just because, you know, the pages, they can be a little plain, so I just wanted something extra to jazz them up. Now this card I sacrificed so I could use the back of it, which had these pretty red and cream colored stars on it. I hate like sometimes like scrapbooking paper, if it's double-sided, like both sides are like really cute and it's kind of like, oh my gosh, which side do I want to use? But I didn't like that one card as much, so I sacrificed it. I then ripped up some other pieces of paper because I wanted some more pops of color with the red, and it kind of like went along with all of the other colors that I had already added. And then once I had everything laid out, I take pictures with my iPad before gluing them down, just so I make sure that I can remember and get everything in the place that I liked it. I can be like very picky about stuff like this and will be like switching pictures around and other things just to get it like the way that I want, because I try to make it look so that there's like no blank spots and like everything's covered and just looks like, I don't want to say aesthetically pleasing, but just in a way that I enjoy. So I just went about gluing everything down. I just used a good old Elmer's glue stick, you know, that does the job, though some pieces were kind of like coming up, so I'll have to go back and glue those down. I then had these stickers and I added June 22nd, and then I didn't have enough to add 2022, so I thought I'd write it out, and then I was like, ooh, that is like super ugly. So I had another scrap piece of this music sheet looking paper and I just glued it down to cover up that 2022, which I thought looked 10 times better. I then used some other stickers that I had and just alternated the colors so that way I would have enough to spell out 2022, which thankfully I thought looked pretty good. I then added some final touches with some fun like silvery stickers. I could not say that word for some reason. And I just put them around the page just to give them a little bit of like, again, more like pizzazz. But once those pages were finished, I went on to the next one. Now this is from the Queen, like I believe it's called like Queen City Magic in May. No, it's not Magic in Mayhem. I will show like the little like brochure thing, so then that way I can get the name right. But I've went about like cutting off like some excess from this particular picture. I think I did it with another one as well, this one. Because I originally thought I was just going to get these pictures down on one page, but then I remembered that I had that blue brochure and I thought I need to turn it into something. Here it is right here. I decided to take the cover off. Now, I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but this is something that they do in Stanton, Virginia in like September, where it's a big like Harry Potter themed festival. And we went, and it was just kind of like a fun thing that my mom and I did together, even though we're both not like the biggest Harry Potter fans, but it was just like something kind of fun to do and get out and about. So I decided to cut out the big picture from the brochure and then laid out a bunch of other pictures from when we went, like, you know, the drink that I had gotten and like the fun picture of my mom with like the wings and stuff. I then cut off the little Virginia is for Magic Lovers before looking through my scrapbooking paper and then cutting out, and then I will add in some extras. I thought that these books would look good. I don't know. I felt like they fit the vibe, and it also brought in a little bit more color. I then added the Virginia is for Magic Lovers onto that pretty plaid paper and just trimmed it down to a size that I liked so that the border would just not be too wide before adding it down onto the page. I then had this little bit of scrapbooking paper that had these letters all over it, and then I added that behind the picture of my mom with the wings. I then had this like Slytherin sticker on the back of that brochure that I had just like slapped on there back from when we were at that little event, and I was able to thankfully peel it off, and then I stuck it actually down onto that scrapbooking paper and just kind of cut around it again just to give it a border so it was a little bit more interesting. And then before I like put it down on the page, you know, I give it a pretty thick border so it would cover up a bit more of that brown craft paper, which while is fine, I just wanted it to have a little bit more. I then went about readjusting all of the pictures. I then thought it would be cute if I cut out a bunch of these little letters to add around the pages, a little bit like confetti. So I did that and cut a bunch out and just laid them around in places. I also thought that they would be cute to kind of fill up some of the space, and I felt like, again, it kind of works with like the theme of like Harry Potter and stuff like that. So I just went about adding them around. I cut out several of them. I think every single one was different, and I didn't want like the same ones to repeat, just so that it'd be a little bit more interesting and then just have like a fun little, I don't know, extra thing. Like I said, it kind of fits the vibes. I also added a little bit more of that plaid paper, again, just to kind of give it some more interest, I guess you could say, just because that one page on the left was kind of plain. I then went about gluing everything down, again, using my trusty Elmer's glue stick, and I just went about gluing it down. You could also use, I know people use a lot like those little like tape runner things or like the glue runner things, which I did have one, but I don't think I actually used it throughout this video, just because I like to use that for like thicker papers and stuff like that, but none of this was particularly like thicker or heavier paper, so the Elmer's glue stick worked fine. I then had this cute sticker sheet from I'll add their name because I'm currently blanking. No, I remember the name. Narwhal Carousel Co. They make very cute figurines, but they also have cute stickers, and I added those stickers around the pages just to give it a little bit of extra pizzazz before moving on to the next and final like couple of pages. Now these are all from when we went to New York City in November of 2022. I forgot to mention, and I also totally forgot to put the date down, but the last pictures are from September of 2022, I believe the 24th and 25th. But anyways, the first spread from New York City is based off of the Museum of Modern Art. I was cutting out this cute little card of like scrapbooking paper that had a paintbrush or had a jar of paintbrushes on it, so I could put down the date and then again Museum of Modern Art. I then cut out little strips of scrapbooking paper just to lay around, again, to give this page a little bit of color. It was very dark and kind of plain, and I wanted some extra pizzazz. On the page, I added some pictures that I took from the museum, including a picture my mom had taken of me, as well as the welcome card, which if you have seen the video where I talk about my oil paintings, you may recognize this card because it is featured in the Blue Jay painting. But I went about gluing everything down, and then I found these cute little like puffy heart stickers that I had, and one of them really like matched the pinks on it, or on this page, so I added that down before adding some of these ribbony pink stickers, just because, again, I thought that they would add more color. You can see that some of the paintings are pretty well-known paintings, like Salvador Dali's, I cannot think of the exact title, but The Melting Clocks, a famous Picasso painting, and of course the iconic Starry Night. There was also a Gustav Klimt painting that I added. And then also the iconic Andy Warhol Campbell soup cans. But anyways, I went about in this little card adding Museum of Modern Art, November 9th, 2022, and then I also just put New York City just to cover up that blank spot in the bottom. I don't have the prettiest handwriting, but I just jotted it down so that I would remember. And on the next 2 pages, I had these receipts from when we went, and I added them down just as like a bit of a background before trying to figure out the layout that I wanted for these pictures. Some of the pictures are from Times Square. There's one from Ellen's Stardust Diner, which is the pancakes. One going down into the subway. I have my Metro card. And then another like random picture that I think was like in Times Square, which that one in the corner with like the little Superman logo, I'll point to it, is one that I had actually taken on like one of those really cheap film cameras. And it was probably one of the only pictures that I had taken on that cheap film camera that actually like turned out, which was really disappointing because I had to spend like quite a bit of money to get that particular film developed, and like that was like one of the only good pictures, so that kind of sucked. But I found some more scrapbook paper to cut out and add like little things around, again adding more color. This was another pretty dull page. I realized at the end I didn't go back in and add any other fun little stickers. Like I added some sparkly ones, but I might go back in the future and add like a little bit more to add some pops of color, like maybe plain ones of like sparkles or something, but I don't know. Here are the sparkly stickers that I was just talking about. They are from Pipsticks. Pipsticks has super adorable stickers. Check them out. I really like some of the stickers that they have. The other stickers, the Ellen Stardust Diner one is from the diner, of course, and then the New York one with the cat, a Statue of Liberty, is from Wool Blossoms, who I have talked about their art before. I really love their work. I think it is so freaking adorable. I cannot tell you how much money that I have spent on their stuff. But anyways, here are the final 2 pages, a little bit of a close-up look of them. And that is the very end of this scrapbook video, and here is how thick this scrapbook has gotten so far. But now to the outro. Alright, so thank you all so much for coming along with me as I did a couple of pages in this scrapbook. I have quite a decent amount of more pictures and stuff to add, so maybe in the future there will be another video of me working on this little scrapbook. But like I said, thank you all so much for coming along with me as I worked on it. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day, and yes, just thank you. Bye.